Okay. Eric, you're going to introduce Pat actually because this is your lead ambassador here. I'm going to welcome back Mr. Eric Richardson to introduce our featured speaker today. So please welcome back Eric. Come on, Eric, yeah.
All right, well, as tradition here at the GNA, Pat, I need you to go all the way to
Aflac.
So, our special guest speaker, he's been coming to the chapter here for quite a while now. He's a great guy. He has a great product. He's going to talk to us about that product today. He's going to help us understand the difference between it and life and health. For those of you that don't know, like me. So it's going to be some great information today. Who brought your notebook and pens? There's going to be some great nuggets today. So at this time, our special guest speaker is with Aflac Insurance. How many of you have actually seen Aflac commercials on TV?
Eric, give us a demo. How about you hit the little hand on the right?
I don't want to take all Pat's fun away. There we go. Now I tried getting a nice big costume for Elias to fit in, and I just couldn't find it. So, anyways, at this time, why don't we welcome the wonderful Pat Wilkus with Aflac Insurance.
Appreciate that. Hopefully, I've got a little already set up on here. I don't know if you can see this or not. I guess probably I'll set it right here. Hopefully it's loud enough because I know there's some side distractions. This gives you a little intro. Let me get here. Well, it's too hard to hear. I was hoping you could. Yeah.
In the future,
yeah, kind of waste
external speakers, because my computer does the same thing.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm not going to worry about it. I'll just stop it. Anyway, it just gives you like a little 20-second thing on the difference between Aflac and Major Medical, but that's what I'm going to talk about anyway. How many have seen the commercials?
Oh, I love them.
Yeah, yeah. In fact, I was sharing with Eric before you all came. They've actually studied it, and 94% of the country has heard of Aflac and knows the name and generally has a good impression of it, but only about somewhere between 30 and 40% actually know what Aflac does. They know it's an insurance company, but I get asked all the time, can I get auto insurance from you? Here you go. Homeowners, those kind of things, we don't do that. Aflac is a supplemental insurance company that a lot of the plans you actually need major medical to get them. They won't even let you get the policies if you don't have major medical because they don't want you to think, okay, I've got this now, I'm going to drop my Kaiser or I'm going to drop my Blue Cross or whatever. I don't need that. Aflac pays a lot of big claims, but I can give you a personal life example. One of my sons, my youngest son, ended up in the hospital 8 days because of an accident. Didn't even need surgery or anything. It was at Lucille Packard's hospital. His Blue Cross bill was just about $90,000. It was just a little bit less than 90. It was $89,000 and something. Fortunately, 100% of that was paid by Anthem Blue Cross. I already met my deductible that year. Aflac paid me on top of that from one policy that we have, the accident policy, an additional $3,900 and some odd dollars. That was really nice. That literally just went in my bank account. Didn't need any of it for the doctors of the hospital. But if somebody didn't have that Anthem policy, they'd really be in trouble. $3,900 is nice, but it's not $90,000. So you need major medical. In fact, there was another little clip after this, a 90-second clip that I was going to show you, but I can tell it's not going to be loud enough. But it talks about that. It says, get Aflac alongside your major medical. It's another little animated piece like that Aflac created. So I don't want you to think we're a replacement of that. Aflac is basically everyday living insurance is what it is. And I'll go into some details. I'll just hit some highlights because I gave you the brochure, so I'm not going to bore you to death. But I'll hit some highlights. But it's basically everyday living insurance because what Aflac does that's different from your major medical is they pay you. Unless you assign the checks to go to the provider, which nobody ever does except for maybe dental insurance, You're going to get the check in the mail. It's going to have your name on it. You literally do whatever you want to with it. Aflac pays you based on the policies that you have and the things that are covered in those policies, but the check is paid directly to you. And there's virtually no limit or no requirement on what you use the money for. In fact, that accident claim I was talking about, I'll pass this around. This was the copy of the first check that I got, but it's got my name on it. That was the $3,440 check, was my initial claim. And basically all I did is I went to Stanford's billing department, which of all places is in Burlingame. It was close, so I just drove there and I asked them to give me a copy of the bill they sent to Blue Cross, because they list everything on it. They don't leave anything off on the bills that they send to the carriers on what they did. I sent that bill in with my Aflac claim form, and that was my first check that came. And if you look at it, I made a little handwritten note. Literally the day after I faxed that to Aflac, they cut the check and mailed it. Aflac has a formal policy in the claims department. Once they have all the paperwork that they need, nothing's missing, they'll process that claim, they'll cut a check, and they'll mail it in 4 days or less. And I actually was at a meeting with our CEO a couple years ago. I had a different contract with Aflac at the time. I had a management contract, and which just meant I could hire agents. Nothing special really, but our CEO came out and talked to us, and he said we usually keep that by a day. So usually it's about a 3-day process of them processing the claim, cutting a check, and mailing it, which is phenomenal. None of the other carriers that I know of are out there do that. You probably know that you're billing them, right? Yeah, from your practice. My dentist, Aflac has supplemental dental, and when I first approached my dentist to bill Aflac for me, because I have Blue Cross dental and I have an Aflac supplemental plan, he said, I don't want to deal with another carrier. And I said, trust me, you'll be happy on how quick they are. He told me they pay in 3 or 4 days. Blue Cross is like 90 days. So he was really happy with that now. So, I mean, he gets paid before I even get my balance bill from him that shows what I owe him. So that's really nice. But anyway, so it's supplemental insurance. It pays directly to you, and it doesn't coordinate with your major medical. Because I hear all the time, you know, I've got Kaiser, I've got Blue Cross, don't they cover the doctor in the hospital and all that stuff? Well, hopefully most of it, yeah, but you usually have co-pays, you usually have deductibles, you've got some kind of out-of-pocket expenses. There might be things that you need done that aren't even covered in your plan. It happens all the time. I have a person really close to me right now that just developed brain cancer, unfortunately. And I was told they don't have Aflac, and you know, it's one of those things, but Aflac has a phenomenal cancer plan I'm going to talk a little bit about. But the treatment, there was one $7,500 treatment she has to have, not covered by major medical, and a $9,500 treatment. That's literally going to be out of their own pocket. So, you know, there's out-of-pocket expenses that are going to come up no matter how good your plan is. Aflac's there to help with that kind of stuff. Let's see, what else was I going to tell you? Another neat thing I love about Aflac that's different from your major medical, they never raise their rates. Haven't had an official rate increase as a company since 1971.
Wow.
What Aflac does that kind of gets around that, I guess you'd say, is they'll issue policies for X number of years. They'll decide to come out with a new policy. Like, right, I just got an email yesterday about a new cancer plan that's going to be available in 28 states, and they're going to roll it out into the rest of the states as soon as they get the insurance commissioner's approval. What Aflac does is they'll grandfather people in on their existing plans. Where I go to my doctor, the lady who owns the practice, her mom has had a cancer plan since like the 70s. Her mom's in her 90s, unfortunately just developed cancer. So she's going to file a claim now. It's the first time she's ever filed a claim. She's only paying $4 a month for her cancer policy. The benefits are a lot less, but she was grandfathered in. She elected to keep her plan. She's never had a rate increase that whole time she's had them. But the benefits are what they were in that plan that she's had for 30 or 40 years. So what Aflac does, if a person likes their policy, they let them keep it for as long as they want to. If they want to upgrade when new plans come out, they can. They would pay the new rates, but they would also get the new benefits in the new plan. But if they like their existing plan, like I have our cancer plan on the whole family right now, our existing one in California. I've already seen what the new plan is going to be. It's a good plan, but I'm going to keep what I have. I pay $69 a month for my family right now for the plan that I have. I like the benefits in it. It has a little inflation rider in it, which I'll talk about a little bit. So I'm good with what I have. I know I'm not going to upgrade. But we came out a few years ago with a critical illness plan that actually replaced a couple other plans that I have with Aflac, and I pay for them too. We're independent contractors. They don't give us anything. I was even sharing with Eric that computer I just had. I had to buy that myself, even though all I use it for really is Aflac. I had to spend about $3,000 for that computer because it has proprietary enrollment software on it that you can't get anywhere else, and I need it to enroll people. So they don't give me any breaks, believe me. In fact, our accident plan, I pay a little bit more because I'm considered a higher risk since I'm driving from account to account. So I'm actually at a higher classification risk-wise, but I have the accident plan on my whole family. That's the one that's really paid me big time, between myself on a couple surgeries and different things that have happened over the years. So anyways, so you can upgrade if you want to. I chose to upgrade on that plan that came out, and I dropped or converted the two older plans that I had that kind of got merged into that. So they give you a choice, so it's nice they never raise their rates. I wish my Blue Cross was that way, I'll tell you. I've downgraded a couple of times over the last 10 years that I've had Blue Cross, and my rates are double what they were when I started. And I've downgraded a couple of times on the plans. So in other words, I've got more out of pocket now, higher copays and higher deductibles. That's one of the really neat things about Aflac is never raising their rates. This is just, I was going to pass this around too, this is just some sample claims that our regional offices paid, kind of summarizing dollars that we paid out. But anyways, oh, and a lot of the plans have some wellness benefits in it too, so you can get some of your money back that you pay in premiums, so you can get back without having to get sick or injured. And if you have more than one plan and it happens to have a wellness benefit in it that's in more than one plan, Aflac will pay you on more than one, because not only don't we coordinate with your major medical, they don't even coordinate amongst their own plans. So if you have, like I have a wellness benefit in the accident plan that pays for my PSA blood test, and our cancer plan pays for that. So I get double payment on having one procedure done, which is already covered at 100% on my Blue Cross because it's a wellness benefit. And with the Obamacare or healthcare reform, whatever you want to call it, that makes wellness benefits a 100% covered item now with no copays or deductibles. So I have no out-of-pocket, but yet I get 2 payments from Aflac for having my PSA blood test done. So anyways, let's try to think what else. Other than life insurance too, there's no physicals or blood tests or exams or any of that kind of stuff. It's just meeting with me individually. I enter your stuff in the computer, and that's literally it. What were we going to say? Question?
Waiting periods?
There are no waiting periods, no. The only thing that really has a waiting period, and I'll talk a little bit about it when I get into, well, I'll just talk about it now, when I get into the cancer plan, you just don't want to be diagnosed within the first 30 days of having the cancer plan with cancer, because that Aflac would say, okay, you didn't realize it, but you had cancer. So they give you an option. They'll cancel the policy and give you any premiums back you paid, or they'll let you keep the policy, but they won't cover that cancer for the first couple of years. But other than that, there's really no waiting period, and that's not really even a waiting period either, because I just tell people, unless you have a life-threatening scenario, don't get a cancer screening the first 30 days. So if somebody signed up for the plan January 1, don't, go get your cancer wellness thing done until after February. So there's not really any waiting periods. They do have some things where they'll look back on pre-existing conditions, possibly, depending on the plan. But like this first one I'm going to talk about, the accident plan, every accident's a new event, so there's not really any kind of waiting period on that anyway. So no, when the policy starts, you're covered from day one. But any questions in general about Aflac? So it's basically supplemental to your existing medical. Some of the plans you can get without having medical coverage, but it's not a replacement for medical. It's totally different, and the benefits are paid directly to you. But any general questions? I'll just hit some highlights of the plans. And these are, what I've included here are all the policies that are available on a direct basis. Aflac does business 2 ways. They do it direct, and then if you like any of the plans, you would sign up for them and just pay with a credit card or a checking account. If you work at a company that offers Aflac, they do it through payroll deduction. And that's really where the majority of Aflac's business is in groups, in companies that have 3 or more employees sign up for something. That's all you need to qualify for a group. So if you know of any businesses out there that would want to offer Aflac, it doesn't cost the company anything. They're all employee paid. We can do pre-tax deductions to save the employees money, and actually save the employers money as well too, because it reduces their adjusted gross payroll. So they save on different taxes that they pay, the FICA, and there's some other ones on there. But even workers' comp could be a little bit less if your payroll is a little bit less, your adjusted gross payroll. So anyways, you can get these through where a person works as long as 3 or more employees sign up, or you can get it direct. these are all the plans that are available direct. Actually, we do sell a few additional plans on top of these that are available only through groups, through businesses. So there's an option, and if you know of any companies like that, we can talk one-on-one when we do one-on-one meetings. But I just wanted to let you know there's a couple different ways of getting it. But the ones I've included here in the brochures or in the information kits are available on a direct basis. And the first one, and I'm not going to go through all the details, but this is definitely the most popular plan Aflac has. It's our accident plan. There's two different levels on it. They all cover the same things with either level. It's just level 2 has a little bit higher payout to you than level 1 does. This is the one, that check that I passed around for $3,440. That was paid out of the level 2 of this plan. I had some follow-up claims after that initial check and got another $500 or $600 out of it. It ended up being right about $4,000. But it was all out of this accident plan right here. And this one has the $60 wellness benefit I was talking about. That's a new benefit that kicks in after the policyholders had this plan for a year, and it actually, Aflac automatically mails you. It's a one-page kind of fill-in-the-blanks claim form. No receipts are needed or bills or anything with our wellness benefits. In fact, Aflac even tells you don't include receipts with it because to them, it's small dollars. It's nice to us, but they're a $60 or $70 billion company. We have 40 million policyholders. They don't want all the extra paperwork on a wellness benefit. So it's truly an honor system. They send you the claim form, you fill in the blanks, they cut you the check for $60. That's after you've had this plan for a year. All the other benefits literally day one. Like when I had Achilles tendon surgery a couple of years ago, I was just jogging, tore my Achilles tendon, and kind of been acting up, and boy, I really tore it. Had a little orthoscopic cleanup surgery on it. I got about $2,400 between this and another plan, and basically there was a surgery benefit, there was follow-up visit benefits in here, there were physical therapy benefits in here. I had crutches, there's a benefit for that, and I had a boot. There was the surgery itself. So it just depends on what a person does. And again, the same scenario, what I did is I just went to the surgery center and to my surgeon, asked him for copies of the bills they sent to Blue Cross, faxed in with my Aflac claim form. They looked through all the stuff that I had done, pulled out the things that are in here, and cut me the check. And I'm very glad I have this. Believe me, accidents happen all the time. It's the #1 plan that Aflac pays or sells, and it's also the #1 of the claims that they pay out, is the accident plan. Very, very popular. Then give you the rate sheets today. Rate sheets in here. I'll pass these around here. And I'll give you guys ones too. Let's just grab one. Here, I'll pass around here. We got some chicken there. Anyways, the next one I was going to talk about, in my opinion, is our most important plan. It's actually one of the reasons I came on board Aflac, is the cancer plan. There's 3 different levels to it. Unfortunately, I mentioned last week, I lost my first wife to cancer 24 years ago. She was only 29. No history in her family of cancer. Tall, slender. We thought a completely healthy person. But just developed a very aggressive breast cancer and went through the radiation, the chemo, major surgery, the whole bit. I didn't even know Aflac existed back then. We were in escrow, buying our first house, living with my parents at the time, 2 kids, 2.5 and 4, and my oldest is multiple handicap. I mean, talk about a handful. I wouldn't wish it on anybody. And I didn't even know Aflac existed. And we were in escrow buying our first house based on both our incomes. And here, just several months later, she passed because of that. So I was blessed afterwards. Literally a month and a half after she passed, I got offered a job that made up for all her income. But I mean, that was, I just was lucky on that regard. But that's talk about scary, and what you go through. The first thing I signed up for was this level 3 cancer plan. There's 2 different levels. The premiums are higher on the level 3 than they are on level 2 and level 1. But like the accident plan, they cover all the same things. It's just you get higher dollar amounts paid to you at the higher level you have. And as an example, in this cancer plan, if somebody has the particular level I have here, the level 3, if somebody has this plan, they're diagnosed with cancer that first year, just because they were diagnosed, before they even really start their treatment, send that pathology report into Aflac with your claim form, they cut you a check for $5 grand right up front. just because they know what you're going to go through. And if it's a child and you have the family coverage like I do, they actually add another $2,500 to that because they know oftentimes both parents are taking off. In fact, that one family here, both parents did. They got $128,000 from Aflac because this was a regional office claim we were helping with. The parents were flying down on a regular basis to LA to a cancer center down there to have their daughter treated. So they were both taking off work. Aflac knows that. We pay transportation and lodging in here. Every year a person has this policy, it adds $500 more to that first occurrence benefit now too. So I've had this 8 years now, so I've added another $4,000 to that initial $5,000 I would get if heaven forbid I'm ever diagnosed with cancer. Hopefully I never need that, but it gives me some peace of mind. That's really what I think Aflac insurance is peace of mind insurance. So you have 3 different levels to choose from. They all cover the same things. There's some good wellness benefits in here too. This one pays me $75 back for the PSA blood test I had done, like the accident. That pays me $60. Women, you can go through more so you can get more back. That level, when my wife gets her mammogram, it pays $100 for that. She gets a pap smear every year, it pays $30 for that. And there's a whole group of other things she can have done that's an additional $75. So between the two of us, we're getting close to $300 back every year just in wellness benefits, which is really nice. And there's a lot of things we cover in here that are going to be covered by your group medical, but again, it's paid directly to you. And there's a lot of things here we cover that aren't, like that transportation and lodging. My Blue Cross wouldn't cover any of that. They don't cover experimental treatment. We do in here. If it's recommended by a National Cancer Institute, it's covered in there. So a lot of good benefits in there. I have one client, actually, he owns a little small flooring company in Santa Clara. Unfortunately, his wife's been dealing for about 2 years with cancer, and she's surviving, but she's going through a lot. But he told me, investment-wise, this was the best investment he's ever had versus stocks or bonds or anything. His company, from what he pays into it versus what he's gotten paid out of it. One check was $45,000 just for a hospital stay. She was there for a few months, but it's amazing the benefits that I see people. I've had more than one person tell me we've saved their house with this plan too. Anyways, I'm a huge believer in it. I wish I knew about it earlier. But I'm like everybody else. I started with them in 2004, but I didn't even know Aflac existed until the year 2000 when the Ducks started being on TV. So they're actually a year older than me. I'm 55. Aflac started a year before I was born, but I had no clue.
Yeah, every time you watch a Giants game, Aflac!
Yeah!
The trivia. Yeah.
In fact, one of our guys sent Mike Bruno and Dave,
Dwayne Kuiper?
Yeah, Dwayne Kuiper, yeah, sent them little Aflac Ducks. And so they sent them back a nice autographed photo of each other. It was kind of fun.
Nice.
He had it up in the regional office, yeah. Anyways, yeah, they do a lot of advertising, but it's a good company. They're funny advertisements, but it's really a rock solid company too, and they pay a ton in claims. But they're financially strong, fortunately. That same meeting I was at, that the CEO came out, he was saying we pay about $6 million a day in claims per day.
Wow.
He said, but don't worry, we're taking in about 25 million new business per day.
Oh.
So they're doing all right. It's funny, we're big in the United States. If you added up all the other supplemental carriers like us out there, if you added them all up, they're about a tenth of the size of what Aflac is. But what's funny is 75% of our revenue comes from Japan. They love us there. They sell Aflac in post offices, in banks. They have storefronts. Every company on the NICO, the top, I forget what it was, 25 or 50 companies offer Aflac to the employees. Literally 25% of the country has Aflac in Japan. Wow. It's amazing. But we're growing really well here too. Anyways, anyway, just want to share that. But the next plan, like the cancer plan, is another critical illness plan. It's called Specified Health Event. There's 2 levels on this one also. I have this just for myself. I have the other plans on my whole family, but I pay for them too, and I can save a little monthly premium by just covering myself on this one. And I have it mainly because it covers heart attacks. And I have that on both sides of my family. And I don't exercise like I used to, especially since I had my Achilles tendon problem, and I have a torn meniscus in the same leg on this knee that I've never had worked on, so I can't jog anymore, and I've gained like 30 pounds in the last few years. So this one really gives me peace of mind. In fact, people often refer to this as the heart attack plan, but it does cover 8 or 9 other things like strokes, and if somebody has a coma, end-stage renal failure, bypass surgery, organ transplants, and it's got some huge payouts in it, just like the cancer one does. It gives a person the first time something happens, it's covered each year. It gives them $5,000. It even has a recurrence benefit of an additional $2,500 if something happens again down the road. And then there's some great 25 grand for an organ transplant. In fact, my dry cleaning lady that I go to has an older version of this, but it had that same benefit in it. And she had a kidney transplant, and her first check was over $40,000 from us. In fact, she even said she'd take me on a cruise with it, but I told her my wife wouldn't like that, so that didn't happen. But she forgot she had the plan. People do that all the time. I even do. I forget you have the policies and you file claims later. It's kind of funny. A year ago, my son, my oldest son that's still at home, 20 at the time, went skiing with some friends at Tahoe, and I totally forgot about our accident plan, but the day there, we weren't with him, so it wasn't on my mind, but the first day going up to the house, he slipped on ice and put his hand through their front window and broke the window and sliced his hand pretty bad, ended up in the emergency room. 10 months later, I remember, oh, that's right, I've got the accident plan. I had my wife dig up the emergency room bill. Didn't cost us anything. We'd already met our deductible again. It was 100% paid for, but I got $135 for him going and getting some stitches in his hand. That just came to me a couple weeks back. So people forget about this all the time, and my dry cleaning lady did too, but she got a $40,000+ check out of this from us. And she's doing real well, fortunately. But there was the transplant, there was intensive care room benefits and some follow-up benefits, a lot of ongoing therapy in here. Has a $150 mammogram benefit in this as well, so if somebody had this and the cancer plan, they get paid on both of those for the one mammogram. My wife loved those. She just loves having her mammograms. I'm kidding. She looked at me like I was crazy. So, but, you know.
That's
anyways. Anyway, no, anyhow. So, again, covers like 9 or 10 critical illness items. Then we have a personal sickness indemnity plan that's kind of like the counterbalance to the accident plan. That one won't cover any expenses related to any kind of illness or sickness. This one does. And it's got some hospitalization, it's got office visits, in fact it's got some wellness benefits in here as well, but strictly if somebody gets sick and ends up in the hospital or has some treatment related to being sick. And then the last one, this one actually you do need to, on a direct basis, where you don't on a group basis, you do need to have a little paramed, but we do offer life insurance too if you wanted to beef up any existing, or if you don't have any life insurance. That one is not on the rate sheet because it's going to vary. The life insurance is going to vary with everybody. It's just straight term life, 10, 20, or 30 years, depending on your age. And the quantity that you can get is anywhere from 10,000 up to a couple 100,000. If you're over 50, it's up to 100,000, and we can double those really inexpensively with an accidental death rider, and there's spouse riders and children riders and all that. It's a decent plan. It's just basic life insurance. It's not really the specialty of Aflac, but they offer it. And then, I said the last one. It's not the last one because this one I ran out of brochures, but we also offer dental, and you can get 3 different levels of dental, and the basic level supplements. Did yours not? Yeah. Yeah. This one didn't have it because I ran out of brochures, but I can get them if yours didn't have it. But with Aflac's dental, no network. Go to whatever dentist you want to. We'll pay them or we'll pay you. Doesn't matter to us. In my case, my dentist initially didn't want to, but he actually loves it now. And what we do different on the dental from your regular major dental companies is we don't do the percentage game. Most, they say they pay 50% for the expensive things like crowns and root canals, 80% for the small things like fillings and so on. I like my Blue Cross Medical. I don't like so much the dental, but this one is a table of allowances. So it has a set dollar amount for all the codes that a dentist charges or the dentist does. So I know 30 seconds after I leave my dental office what that plan's going to pay because I've got these in my trunk normally, and I just line up the codes.
So these are the payout amount that they have, whether it's whatever the situation is.
You have 3 different codes, you get paid 3 different amounts.
But you only get 1 per code. So if there were 2 impacted and 1 regular extraction, then you only get paid out 1 per code? Is that what I'm understanding?
Well, you would get paid on what you have done, and it's going to depend on how the dentist bills it and codes it. So, like when I have, give it live example, an old filling replaced. He puts a coat in there for taking it out and cleaning the tooth, and then he puts a coat on for putting a new one in. So that one new filling, I would have 2 different payments on it. And they're gonna need to know what teeth the dentist worked on, and if you've worked on more than one tooth, you get more than one payment. They might be the same coat on each teeth, but they're 2 different teeth, so you'd have 2 different coats paid. Right. Nice thing about this is, besides not having a network, is there's no annual deductible. There are initial waiting periods, but once you have those behind you, they're behind you forever. Like I just signed up for this in 2005, I think. Everything, you can get everything done after 2 years. You can get most things done after a year. You can get some things done after 6 months. You get fillings done after 3 months. It just depends what you have done. The more expensive they are, and the more painful they are, it's a little longer initial waiting period. But cleanings right away, fillings after 3 months, teeth extracted or deep cleanings after 6 months. Most crowns and root canals after 12 months. But again, once it's behind you, it's behind you. You don't have an annual re-up on a deductible or anything. And it pays regardless of your other coverage, just like the other plans we have.
And what's the premium?
It's on the second or third page. Yeah, it's on the rate sheet. Yeah, and I have 6 different Aflac plans. Most of them I have on the whole family. One I have on just myself. If you want any of them, you would just pick and choose what's right for you. And if you do want any of them, you would just meet with me, and I would enter your stuff in my computer, and that's pretty much about it, other than the life insurance, which would require, depending on the amount, I think it's over 50,000. Under 50,000, you don't have to have any physical or anything, but over that, Aflac would set you up with that. They pay for that themselves.
Now, on the cancer one,
yeah.
Do they have a pre-existing risk?
On a direct basis, you have to be cancer-free for 10 years or more with no treatment or anything.
What about risk? Have you been exposed to Agent Orange?
No, it doesn't ask that. The initial underwriting question on cancer is, have you ever had cancer before? If you haven't, it doesn't even go beyond that. If you've had cancer, it'll open up a series of cancer history questions, and as long as it's been more than 10 years since someone's had it on a direct basis, it's 5 years in a group. And it'll ask some certain questions about it, but that's it. It doesn't matter if you've been exposed to it.
For example, right?
Yeah.
I'm on kidney transplant, and I take meds that make me vulnerable for cancer.
Right.
So, if I came up with cancer, would they come back and look at that?
No. You'd be fine. As long as you've never had cancer before, right?
No.
You'd be fine. Yeah, you'd be fine. You can get the plan. Some of the other plans you might not be able to get then, like the specified health event plan, I'm sure with underwriting in the computer would kick you out. The cancer one, no. The accident one, no. The sickness one you probably couldn't get either in your specific scenario, most likely. I don't have all the questions memorized, but if anybody's interested, I could flip on the computer and I could walk right through it. It's quick.
So, just kind of curious, with you have a life and health license, I'm assuming, obviously, right?
Yeah.
With your life and health license, are you able to sell products outside of Aflac as well?
Oh, and I do.
Like, can you tell us a little bit about what else you can do, like life, health, disability, long-term care?
I literally could sell it all. I even have a PNC license, but in this group, I'm respecting you and not doing that.
Oh, no. No. It's open, man.
Well, I literally could.
You're gonna have a lead ambassador here soon.
Her partner's office on PNC. I haven't done any yet, but I work through David Flagg on PNC. But I do have groups that I handle. Their Blue Cross, they handle their Kaiser, handle their Blue Shield, HealthNet. Just a handful of those. The majority of my business is Aflac. In fact, that's all I did until 2 years ago. And then the last couple of years I've had, because I got tired of saying no to people. Yeah. They asked me if I could help them with their Blue Shield or their whatever, and I do that now. And I have my own website, and it's got the whole bit on there on all the plans that are out there. And thank you for asking me about that. But I do handle all life and health too as well. And if I'm not appointed with somebody, and in fact somebody just signed up for a different dental plan direct, and I just got the appointment paperwork and faxed that in right along with my application the other day on a new dental carrier that I'm now going to be appointed with.
Right, and there's plenty, there's plenty of business for everybody. Even I know Kelly and I've done the same thing, and we all get along really well. So that's the stance of the GNA, is that do what you have to do. and you know you're in Foster City, right?
Right.
And you're in
San Mateo, Foster
City. Yeah. I'm in Redwood City South Bay, so you have to understand we're in different areas too.
Sure,
we might be able to help each other do something that the other side can't do at some point.
Right.
So please feel free.
Well, I just didn't want to step on your toes.
You're not. No. We don't limit the group.
My wife said, be sure to tell them, you do life and health too, with other carriers. And I said, well, that's kind of not why I'm there. But
that's why I asked. I was like, hey, don't even.
And that's why I actually gave up my management contract with Aflac, because when you have a management appointment with them, they can't say you are not allowed to sell other plans because we're not captive agents, but they discourage it. They can pull your contract. So when I decided to do that, I gave up that management contract and just have a regular agent contract with Aflac now. So there's no conflict of interest or anything. And I purposely don't go after carriers as far as trying to get appointment like a Unum or like a Colonial that are direct competitors with Aflac. Right. I stay away from those. And if I can help the customer on their health or their life or group or individual health or whatever, I'm happy to do that. And I do that all the time over the last couple of years. So thank you. Yeah,
that's what we need to know about everybody. That's how we can help you. Yeah.
Sure. So if you know of somebody who doesn't have any insurance at all and wants to get their own individual policy, health major medical policy, I can help them with that. And I love helping people save money. And I kind of find out what they want and do the market research for them. In fact, a restaurant owner friend of mine just called me yesterday and said, can you help my sister? And so I got all her information, the name, address, phone number, zip, and ages and all that. And I'm going to try to find a little individual policy for herself and her family now. So I do that kind of stuff all the time too. Awesome. But my main focus over the years has been Aflac, and they're a phenomenal company. They really are.
Awesome.
Very old-fashioned, conservative company. They know, today's internet world that bad news spreads fast, so they're really good about claims too. I've seen them pay some claims over the years where if I was in the claims department, I might not have paid it as easily as they have because they don't want the viral spreading of bad news.
The hush-hush, right?
Yeah. And one lady I can still think of, she works for an interpreter company down in San Jose, probably weighed 350 pounds, so it was a pre-existing condition, had a plan that she had bypass surgery on. It took Aflac about a month to decide, but they finally did pay her, and they paid her a lot of money. But she was mad that first month, and then she became a very happy client afterwards. It was clearly a pre-existing condition, but they still paid it. She's doing great too. But anyways, so I've seen them pay claims that are kind of questionable in favor of the policyholder. So that's kind of nice. Anyways. But any other questions in general about Aflac or life or health? Yeah.
Isn't there like a disability section to
Aflac does have disability, but it's only through groups through payroll. You can use any of the money like a disability payment if you wanted to, because it's your money. If you needed to replace lost income, if you needed to pay grocery bills or car payments or rent, payments, you can certainly use them like a disability income, but they pay you based on what's in the policy. But they do offer a specific disability, like short-term disability. It pays for up to 2 years, and you have options in between. But you have to do that through your company through payroll deduction. And if the company that you work at, if they don't offer Aflac, I can meet with HR or the owner and let them know how easy it is, because you only need 3 people to sign up to have a group.
Well, when you're an independent contractor.
Then you can't. Yeah, you can't. And there are other disability companies out there that I have a quote in my car I have to deliver to somebody on an individual. He works for a company that doesn't offer insurance at all, and he wants to get his own disability plan, and I have 2 quotes for him that I have to deliver today. But Surety is the company that looks pretty good for him. So,
do they have government employees?
We do a lot with the government, a lot with school districts, a lot with city municipalities, and with the state. I don't think the federal government does it all, though, but a lot through the state and city, so and a lot of school districts. In fact, San Bruno School District, I just took over that account. Yeah, federal.
That's nice.
Yeah.
So,
and they haven't been seen in a few years, so I got names of every school and who to contact with, and so this month is my initial group to get in there. Yeah. So, that's one of the nice things about being around for 8 years is you inherit things.
that's beautiful.
Yeah, that's really nice.
You get handed an account like that. It
can be. It can be good. Yeah, it's funny. But it's funny though. We pay for them ourselves as individual owners or as employees. They're not company paid, so Teachers, though, sometimes have a tendency to think I don't want anything else coming out of my paycheck, but they're not thinking big picture, and that I might pay $50 a month, but if I have a claim, I might get several thousand.
Well, it's really sad that people who are well, they don't think about ever getting sick.
No, and young people don't either.
Well, because when I got sick, I just had a little pain in my back.
Yeah.
And I was working like crazy, you know, and I was working around the clock, making good money. I got a little pain in my back, and then one day I had like my face like twisted to the side, and I went to the hospital to see what it was. They said I had high blood pressure. Well, nobody in my family has high blood pressure, and 6 months later, I went to investigate the pain. Just got worse, you know, and the doctor said that it was no big deal, you know. This went on for a while, and then finally, somebody told me I had end-stage renal disease.
Oh no! Oh my
God!
gosh!
So you know, it was just a little pain in my back.
You never know. Yeah.
And it happens to anybody, you know. And it may have been something that I ate because I ate in restaurants quite a bit. And it may have been something that I ate with them, because it's not in my family. I have a lot of family.
Yeah.
Nobody ever had it.
My wife's case too with the cancer. Nobody in her family.
But
She
you
was
get
only
it
29.
Something that your body didn't like. Something that wasn't filtered out.
Yeah, I can't tell you how many times I've gone back to groups where a particular person was thinking about it, didn't sign up, and I come back and they said, oh geez, 3 months after you left, I got diagnosed with this or that, and they wish they'd signed up and it was too late.
Well, by the time I was diagnosed, my husband's company had closed down, and we didn't have insurance.
Oh, that's tough.
It was bad.
Oh, that's tough. Yeah, that's tough. These, you know, they're yours for as long as you have the policies, as long as you're making the premium. Aflac cannot cancel whoever, so if you end up filing a big claim or whatever, they can't, you know, say, you know, your costing us too much and drop you. Guaranteed issue or guaranteed renewal for life, as long as you've got the policy. You have to get in, you'll see some are age-banded, some are not. The ones that are age-banded, you lock in your rate at whatever age you sign up for the plan. So it does, if you get older and you move into another age bracket, it doesn't go up to that higher age bracket rate either. Some of them are not age-banded, some are, but you lock it in whatever your current age is, and you never have to worry about a rate increase, and you never have to worry about them canceling you or losing your coverage. Sorry, sound screen. My screensaver has Aflac Duck sounds. It gets irritating when you forget about it sometimes.
I think it's great.
Yeah, well, if you hear it all the time, it's a different story. It's fun though.
Yeah.
Let's see, what else was I going to say? So anyways, phenomenal company though, and thank you for asking about the other stuff too, because I'm a full agency. Any other questions?
I just want to even offering it, you know.
Oh,
I had no idea what it was.
Yeah, well, thank you.
Insurance.
Most people don't. That's why I say, you know, over half the people that have heard of us don't know what we do.
I encourage everybody to get it. I really do.
Yeah.
I don't know how many people about it.
It can be, absolutely. It gives me peace of mind. I spend between the policies I have on top of my Blue Cross, my Aflac policies, because I have 6 of them, I spend about $300 a month, which is not easy, but I don't worry financially if something happens to me.
Well, somebody doesn't have to pay that much, but
no, you don't have to. Absolutely. That's why I say I've got 6 different policies. My wife doesn't work, and she's a full-time mom, she works, but she's not generating an income. So if I'm laying up in a hospital bed somewhere, there's no money coming in at all, but I don't worry about that. Because we've got our Blue Cross coverage that's going to take care of the doctors in the hospital, and I have Aflac that's going to take care of
But I have Blue Cross, and believe me, I have thousands of dollars in the doctor.
Oh, we do too.
Out of pocket.
We do
thousands.
Too. I have a $2,500 deductible, and that's double per family. And then there's things they obviously don't cover. So it's and we have high prescription costs. So we spend about $10 grand out of our pocket just. Anyway, so
we got to wrap this up. If you guys want to talk afterwards,
we'll talk afterwards. But thank you all for having me, and I'll see you in future weeks. But
question. So this is there's an age limit, right? 64.
As far as getting into the plan, you can keep it beyond that age, but you can't sign up new once you get beyond the limits that are on the So if you're past that age-wise, I can't help you on Aflac. Other things maybe I could, but not that. Yes.
As an optometrist, I have some patients that go to and that particular procedure is not covered under one of the medicals. For Blue Cross, as far as I know, they only cover that for one particular diagnosis, whereas if you take a company like Aetna, they cover it for several.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah. So Aetna,
you know more than me on that, to be honest. Yeah, that's a specialty.
Right, because Blue Cross as a health plan is opposed to insurance, and whereas Aetna is an insurance plan. So as far as I understand,
you're going. I'd have to do research for you.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm just wondering whether or not Aflac would help with that.
Aflac's not going to help with that. They do offer a vision plan through payroll, and it does have some different benefits besides just prescription. It's got some eye disease benefits and surgery benefits and vision loss, but it's not. This is not
something that most optometrists do.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it's still in the medical.
Oh, okay.
It is still in the medical.
It's nothing that Aflac would be able to help you on that. Yeah.
So is that the difference between something that an ophthalmologist would have to do?
No, it's not that. Actually, the ophthalmologists don't even do that particular specialty. It's interesting because they actually created that whole field, but then after they got into medicinals and surgery, then they kind of stopped doing that, and us optometrists took over. We're talking about treatment for like lazy eye turns, things like that.
Oh, okay.
And those procedures, it just so happens that Aetna covers a lot of it, but if you look at plans like Blue Cross, Cigna, etc., they have an exclusion for that.
There's always exclusions.
Yeah, they have an exclusion for that procedure.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Good luck. Thank you all. Thanks.
Come on, let's give them a hand clap. That was good.